Hello everyone in Oneness. Thank you so much for watching this video. In Oneness, I'm Jessica Delmar. In this video, I wanted to share a client co-creation session that came through just recently that sort of clarified and put more pieces together in terms of the Trilogy energy unfolding this year, 2019, and sort of understanding a little bit more what's going on beneath the surface of that Trilogy energy. And it was a really interesting session that I'm excited to share with you guys. I want to thank my client and our teams in Oneness for bringing forward this information in our co-creation together. So what came through for my client is he's been going through this tough turmoil of energy, very tornado-like energy is what he described. And I wanted to see sort of what was going on beneath that energy and bringing forward more understanding. It connected me very strongly to the Trilogy energy opening. And so I think for a lot of other people who may be experiencing this same type of thing, could very much relate to the information that came through in this session. So the first thing that came through for him when I connected to his energy was the energy of Christ consciousness and the energy of forgiveness. A lot of forgiveness energy needing to, or coming up for him, needing to be released or transmuted through the energy of forgiveness. And it's also the same thing that I feel with the collective in general. A lot of forgiveness needs to be integrated because the energies of guilt and shame are heavily being released right now. And it's through the energy of that Christ consciousness energy, which is grounded and rooted in the energies of unconditional love, compassion, and forgiveness, that is going to transmute those other lower vibrational energies of guilt and shame. The energy of feeling that tornado-like turmoil or energy within the life of my client very much connected me. It gave me a vision of the Wizard of Oz. And what came through is that the tornado of energy from the guides were basically sending him into the Wizard of Oz, meaning that it was bringing things up for him in his life that he needed to, or that needed retuning. For example, in the Wizard of Oz, the lion needed courage, the Tinman needed a heart, and the Scarecrow needed a brain. So things that you need to integrate or release or activate or whatever, that was happening for him in this energy of this tornado as he himself was moving into that Wizard of Oz state, sort of, if that makes sense. What came through is that my client's guides have brought this tornado-like energy in for my client because he is going through some major retuning and integration and activation of his three minds. The three minds are the brain mind, the heart mind, and the gut mind. The brain mind very much connected to the Scarecrow who needed a brain, the heart mind connected to the Tin Man who needed a heart, and the gut mind connected to the lion who needed courage. What came through next is that my client is going through a very intense time of retuning. His guides are basically shoving or squeezing the lower vibrations out of him, getting him to really integrate what he needs to integrate, so that he's in a place vibrationally and physically to what came through is catch the next boat, catch the next wave of energy that's going to be opening onto the planet. And that connected me to Christ consciousness energy, which connected me to more of an unfolding of Trilogy energy. So I spoke about how Trilogy energy opened with this doorway, this portal on 4/4 in April. And what sort of became a little bit more clear is they are opening in waves. So the Trilogy energy, divine feminine, divine masculine, and Christ consciousness energy are all in a play or a dance together. However, the leading role shifts with waves of energy. So the first wave of energy opened up with the spring equinox, and that was the divine feminine energy. And the second wave of energy opened up with the summer solstice, and that was a wave of strong divine masculine energy, which is open right now and is going to continue opening throughout the summer. And the third wave of energy is going to open up in the fall with the fall equinox, and that's going to be the Christ consciousness energy. And so the first two waves, this divine feminine and divine masculine, was really getting my client to a place in where he can balance these two energies, squeezing and shoving the lower vibrations out of him so that he can be in a place vibrationally and physically for when the Christ consciousness energy opens up with that wave in the fall. Right now, with the first two waves of the Trilogy energy opening, it is forcing a lot of people into balancing energy within, which creates the bubbling over of things that no longer serve you to be released in order to integrate more balanced energy. The purpose of all of this, and especially of releasing and cleansing and clearing everything that no longer serves you, is to make space so that when the Christ consciousness energy opens in the fall with its wave, the third wave, there will be space within you to integrate the energies of Christ consciousness energy, which is rooted and grounded in unconditional love. Now, I first want to make clear that there is no such thing as missing the boat or missing a wave of energy. Any waves of energy that open onto the planet are always available, since there is no time, no space. Whenever you are in a place to receive it and integrate it and activate it, then that energy will be there to activate within you and integrate within you. Again, we're moving through this in waves, and so energies are being opened right now for those who are in a place to receive it, but at the same time, there are people who are not in a place to receive it, and that's totally fine, because they will get to a place eventually where they will be ready to receive it. And when they get to that place in perfect timing and in perfect unfolding is when they will receive it. In further unfolding of this Trilogy energy and why it connects to my client and why my client's guides wanted him specifically to be part and be ready for this next wave of energy, which is going to be that Christ consciousness energy in the fall, is the unfolding of this Trilogy energy opening on the planet. Yes, it stepped through the 4-4 portal and came from the realms of Gaia where it was being kept safe. However, it is not necessarily able to open up into the collective consciousness and affect the collective unless it moves through people. So these waves of energies, of Trilogy energy, is not necessarily energy that is coming from an external place and hitting the planet. It is energy that is being harnessed from within people. So what was shown to me was people have been doing the work. We've been cleansing, clearing, healing for a long time. We've been trying to balance our energy. We've been working on ascension and whatnot. And so for many people, you have activated some sort of balanced energy within you, whether it's balanced divine feminine, balanced divine masculine, or balanced Christ consciousness. There are enough people with balanced of one of these Trilogy energies that allows for this greater, grander Trilogy energy waves to open onto the planet. So for example, a person can have balanced divine masculine energy, but still maybe need work on balancing the divine feminine, and still maybe need work on balancing the Christ consciousness energy. But because that person has balanced divine masculine, that person is playing or played a very strong role during the summer solstice in helping to open that divine masculine wave of the Trilogy energy onto the planet and into the collective consciousness, more so into the collective consciousness, because this greater energy needs to work through people to affect and move into the greater collective consciousness. So for my client specifically, what had come through is he holds that balanced Christ consciousness energy, which desires for him to get into a place physically and energetically for when that portal energy comes around in the fall, he can contribute to being a vessel for that Christ consciousness to work through him and open energy of Christ consciousness into the collective. He is just one of the many, many different puzzle pieces of vessels across the planet who are going to be vessels and pillars of light for that Christ consciousness to move through and into the collective consciousness. But what needed to happen first for him to get to a point in the fall when that wave of energy can move through him is he needs to balance other aspects of himself. It was like they showed me there was a layer of mud that covered that balanced Christ consciousness energy, and so he needed to do the work, and a lot of work, I guess, to really remove that mud and clean and clear and heal it, so that he is there and in a place where he can do the work when the time comes around for the balanced Christ consciousness within him to activate in the fall. And so the same thing goes for those with balanced divine feminine or those with balanced divine masculine. These energies are moving through you to integrate into the greater collective consciousness. And eventually, this year is all about balancing all three of these energies. So even if you're only balanced in one of these energies, you're going to be balanced in all three eventually as this year goes by and as the other energies really start ramping up on the planet. The next part of information that came through had something to do with the Christ consciousness energy opening up in the fall. What had come through for my client is that when that Christ consciousness energy is activated within, when the muddy layer can be removed and that Christ consciousness energy can really be activated, not only within my client, but within the greater collective consciousness as that wave opens in the fall, what it's going to do is it's going to open the three houses of God is what came through. Or if you want to interpret it, the three houses of source, completely up to you. I asked, what are the three houses of God? This is when the guide showed me the Wizard of Oz again. What came through is the three houses of God are truth, love, and strength. When Christ consciousness wave of energy opens, beginning in the fall, it will open the three houses of God within individuals on the planet. When this happens, what came through was a log of stuck energy, so basically it was like hardened energy is what was being shown to me, will be released within people who are ready and able to receive that Christ consciousness wave of energy. And then they showed me a vision of like a clogged or a backed up pipe becoming clear and then the water flowing through smoothly. I asked, so does that mean that not everyone will receive this energy when it opens? And what came through is not everyone will be able to receive it as it opens on the planet or into the collective, but it will always be available for everyone who is able to get to a point of receiving, even if many months or years down the line. I thought how amazing that it connected the whole Wizard of Oz theme in terms of the lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tinman, definitely integrating truth, love, and strength, integrating brain, heart, and courage. I feel like Not a lot of the brain mind, gut mind, and heart mind came through in this message for my client, but I feel like more of that may be coming through in the next few months as this trilogy energy begins unfolding more and more. And lastly, I asked, does everyone hold Christ consciousness energy? And what came through was yes, but it's like a diamond. It must first be found, then polished, and then opened in the form of compassion. For many of you, your diamonds are ready to be polished in time to unfold more strongly in the fall. And also for many of you, compassion will show itself more strongly as you move through your journey, especially in the upcoming months, to remind you that in always choosing love over fear, and in always choosing to show compassion when met with any situation, you are polishing the inner diamond of Christ consciousness within. And that's what needed to come through. Thank you so much for watching this video. Together with you in oneness, I am Jessica Delmar. Oneness and love be with you.